Hi, everybody. My name is Ben Conroy with the National Sports Media Association. Today, we're here with 2022 North Carolina Sportscaster of the Year, Mr. Stan Cotten. Stan, how are you doing today?
Hey, Ben, how are you? Good to talk to you.
Appreciate it. So I wanted to just start at the beginning here. I was wondering if you could tell me a little bit about how you got into the world of sports media, maybe what your first job was, and then take me along your career path to where you are now, which is the voice of the Demon Deacons.
Yeah, my getting involved in media, specifically radio, was kind of by accident. I mean, it was not one of those things that I dreamt about as a kid, anything like that, and said, as a young man, this is what I want to do. I mean, I wanted to be a football player. That's what I wanted to do, and was pretty heavily recruited as a high school football player. Was a quarterback in Tennessee, in East Tennessee, in the Knoxville area, and had a knee injury, a couple of knee injuries that back in the day was kind of a career killer, and so got involved with the local radio station that was actually broadcasting our games. Ended up getting a full time job with WIVK Radio in Knoxville, the station now that's the was then and still is the flagship station of the Vol Network for the Tennessee Vols. And anyway, started working at the radio station. My high school coach moved on from high school to the college ranks at Carson Newman College at the time, university now, which was at the time was an NAIA school about 30 minutes away from Knoxville, and now a Division II school. But he said, "Look, you're involved at the radio station now. How would you like to?" And it was a short drive, again, about 30 minutes from Knoxville. I was a student at Tennessee. He said, "But how about on Saturdays you come call our games on the radio?" So I thought, sure, why not? And did the first one in the fall of 1980. Which was 43 seasons ago, and Ben was just hooked. I knew right then, this is what I want to do. If I could make a living from doing this, this is what I want to do. And did the games there for 11 years. Carson Newman was, and again, I was really attached in a lot of ways with the head coach, Ken Sparks, who was, again, my high school coach, had become a dear friend, stood up with me at my wedding. And so we were kind of joined at the hip there for a long time. And I did games at Carson Newman for 11 years, loved every single minute of it. But then really kind of felt the itch to move on a little bit and just see where I could go, and ended up going to Marshall University from there. Didn't know a soul at Marshall, didn't know anything about the program other than the tragic plane crash in 1970 that took the entire football team. But that's all I knew about Marshall. But I got the opportunity to go to Huntington, West Virginia, did that, and just had 4 incredible years at Marshall, 4 of the best years of my life in a lot of different ways. And then got the chance in the fall of 1995 to go to Wake Forest and be a part of the Demon Deacons in the ACC. And that was 27 years ago. And I'm still kind of hanging on in Winston-Salem, and it's been a great ride. We've raised a couple of daughters here in our time with the Deeks, and so here I am again, about to wrap up year 27, and just kind of rolling right along and enjoying life, and have loved my time here and all the ups and downs that go along with being at a place that long. But we've, in a lot of ways, grown up here and have grown attached to this place, and not going anywhere anytime soon unless they boot us out the door, which you never can tell. But it's been a great ride. In a lot of ways, Ben, seems like I've only been doing this for 10, 12 years, but again, it's been over 40 now. But I wouldn't change a thing. It's been a great ride.
Well, congratulations on a very long and decorated career to this point. I'm sure that Demon Deacon Nation is happy that you won't be going anywhere anytime soon. So I wanted to ask, you and I have gotten the chance to witness some pretty great moments this season, over the football and the basketball teams. But you've been doing this for, like you said, about 40 years. So I was wondering, what are some of your favorite moments, or maybe favorite games or impactful things that have happened over the course of your career?
Well, it's a great question. There've been, and it's the longer I go, I tend to, I mean, there are obviously kind of cornerstone games that you're never going to forget. But the older I get and the longer I do this, I tend to think more of people rather than games. The coaches, the players that I've had a chance to get to be around, to get to know personally, to have a relationship with. And you're a very young man. This will probably you'll get to that point too, where you start thinking about all of the relationships that you've forged over the years. At least that's the way it's been for me. But at Carson Newman again, the national titles that they were involved in football still are right at the fore of my brain and my memory bank. I can remember the very first one in 1983 in Grand Junction, Colorado. Carson Newman played for the national title and won that thing and won 4 more after that. And each one of those national titles means a lot to me. And my first year at Marshall, in the fall of 1992, Marshall won, at the time it was the 1AA, won the 1AA National Football Championship in football. And that game still means so much to me. That was I mentioned at the very beginning of the interview here, or our chat together, the horrible plane crash at Marshall. Marshall had gone from that tragedy in 1970 to winning a national title in football in 1992. And I can remember the week building up to that game, just all the emotion that was just on everyone's heart and minds. And the Herd went on to win that championship game, and then the weeks thereafter, all the emotion, all the celebration that went along with that. I'll never forget that, and so thankful and so privileged to be a part of that. And at Wake Forest, all the bowl games now, NCAA tournaments in basketball. Remember my very first couple of games calling football at Wake Forest. The Deacs didn't have this incredible winning tradition in football yet. Right out of the gates, Wake won a couple of games. I thought, hey, maybe it's me. Bringing all the national championships from Carson Newman and Marshall. Maybe it's me. Of course, found out pretty quickly it wasn't. Just kidding there, but really soon after getting here, going on and playing in the Aloha Bowl and winning the Jim Grobe era, the ACC championship year of 2006 was very, very special. The Orange Bowl at the end of that season, calendar year 2007, the bowl run that Wake's on now, 7 straight in football, but all the postseason as well in basketball at Wake Forest. That first year with it's an easy marker for me. My first year at Wake Forest was Tim Duncan's last year, and had a chance to maybe go to a Final Four with that first Wake Forest team that I was involved with. Didn't turn out to be that, but still a couple of games in the NCAA tournament and some crazy basketball games. Since then at Wake Forest. I'll never forget Skip Prosser's first win at Carolina when Chris Paul was a freshman. Big Eric Williams was a freshman. A triple overtime win in the Smith Center was an incredible game. Multiple overtime game with West Virginia in the NCAA tournament. So, there are games we could talk about and go on and on and on, but I just, think about the relationships with Dave Odom and Jim Caldwell, currently with Steve Forbes, one of my favorite, and Coach Dave Clawson's been so good to me and us here in his time. So it's hard to pinpoint, games when you've been doing it as long as I have, because I just think about people more than anything else and some of the players over the years. But again, 27 years here at Wake Forest, 43 overall after getting my start as a teenager. I was 19 when I started this. We can all do the math and figure out how old I am now. But it's been a great run, been a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Some great moments there and many more to come, hopefully. My next question, I wanted to ask about, as someone who has been in the business, for so long and had so much success, what advice would you give a young person, maybe a college student looking for their first job in the world of sports media out of college, to sort of get their foot in the door and establish themselves in the business?
Well, there's certainly a lot of opportunities now for young people, both men and women, and that's the great thing about it. And I think I would probably tell young folks to really have an open mind as you go in, because you might think, you know what, I want to do play by play, or I want to do this or that. There's so many varying kinds of opportunities now with the advancements in technology and how teams are covered, all those types of things. Just again, have an open mind and go into it being open to all the different ways that you might get involved, and whether that's with a college team like I'm involved with, maybe a professional team, and it doesn't have to be at the level of the ACC or whatever. There are all kinds of levels, all kinds of different opportunities, all types of media that you can be involved with. So, have an open mind early and try to get as much exposure and as much as many different kinds of areas that you can, so that maybe you can find one that maybe matches a skill set that maybe you don't know you have right now. Maybe you'll discover that once you get in. Now, there's nothing wrong with say, look, I want to call games. I want to do play by play. That's what I did when I first got started. And I've stuck with that because for me, a guy that really just wanted to be a player, it was the best way for me to still be involved in sports and still be a part of the game. Every time I cover a game, call a game, I'm a part of that game. For the folks who listen to what we do, we're a big part of that game. But there's so many different ways to be involved now than when I started, that I guess going back to square one, my biggest piece of advice would be to have an open mind and just look at all the different ways you can get involved and find one that matches what you like, and then take that and go with it.
Certainly good advice there. I wanted to ask, you've called Wake Forest home for about 27 years now. Obviously the community loves you. What's your favorite part about being the voice of the Demon Deacons and calling Wake Forest sports?
It's again just being involved with the program over the years, and the different coaches and players that you're involved with. You can't attach yourself to these coaches too tightly, because obviously they more times than not come and go. Some have shorter tenures than others. The athletes are going to have 4 years, 5 years. Well, in the crazy day we have now, some play 7 in football and basketball. But it's going to be a finite time. But just enjoy the time you have with a player and his career, or a coach and his tenure. Do the best you can to be the spokesperson, if you will, in a lot of ways for the folks, the fans who want to be a part of your team. And if they can't get to the games, they'll use you as a way to connect and more than anything else, make the games the most important thing. The games aren't about me. They're not about people I work with or anything like that in terms of from the broadcast end. The games are the most important thing. And I try to kind of attack each broadcast with that intent of let's be true to the game. Let's make sure we represent this game as closely and as accurately as we can, so that after the game is over, the fans, those who listen to the game, can feel like, what, I might not have been at the stadium, I might not have been in the arena, but in a way I was there. If we can do that, if we can make the fans feel that way when the game is over, then I think we've done our job.
Absolutely. My last question is about this award. So as someone who's, spent so much of your life, perfecting your craft and building a career for yourself in the world of play-by-play, what does it mean to have your work recognized especially, by your peers.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think, Ben, when it's an award that comes from your peers, it means an awful lot. It really does. And to win it in the state of North Carolina, where we have so many talented broadcasters, multiple professional teams and college teams, it does mean a lot. But I will say this: I hope that my broadcast partners and all the others that go to the process of doing what we do, I hope all of them will share in this award. They should. It's like anything else. When awards are given out, there's so many people's names who don't get mentioned that have contributed in a huge way. That certainly is the way it is with us at Learfield, in terms of the people on the sales teams, the people on the technical teams, those of us who are at the arenas or at the stadium. There are a lot of folks, and I hope that all of those people will share in this. I've certainly let them know how much they mean to what we do, and my name might be on that award, and I appreciate that. But these are team awards. Without those folks, I would be lost. And so I hope that they, with me, will share this June when we get that award again.
Absolutely. Well deserved to you and your entire team. Stan, congratulations again, and thank you for taking the time today.
Ben, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.